Good evening, everyone. My name is Ratnali Annadate, and I attend the British International School of Budapest. Today, we're here to celebrate the 75th year of independence, the Amrit Mahotsav.
Good evening, I'm Srnidhi Seshan, and I'm also a student of British International School of Budapest. And today we would like to give you a lecture on the new Indian education system and the implementations that have been put in place, because we think it's really important for everyone to be educated on this topic as it's very fascinating and interesting. So now we'd like to share a presentation with you about this.
Before we get into the new implementations, we're going to give you a brief history for about India's first education system, which was known as the Gurukul. It was a residential schooling system dating back to around 5000 BC, where a Shishya and a Guru, a student and a teacher, used to reside in the Guru's ashram, or they used to live near each other in close proximity. This allowed for a bond to be created prior to the learning and teaching. The mode of communication was ancient Sanskrit, and an example of this can be Lord Krishna and Lord Balarama, whose guru was Sandipani. The basis of learning wasn't only to read books and memorize information, but a well rounded, holistic development of the child. This included their mental, cognitive, and physical, along with spiritual wellness. Subjects that were taught were such as religion, holy scriptures, medicine, philosophy, astrology, and more. The emphasis was on developing the students' human values such as self reliance, right behaviors, empathy, creativity, and a strong moral and ethical behavior. The aim was that the knowledge could later be put into practically to find solutions to real life problems. And there were six main aims for this sort of education. The first one being acquisition of supreme knowledge. The ultimate purpose of the Gurukul education was to understand Brahma, or God, and that the world beyond sensorial pleasures to attain immorality. The second was development of character. Through studies of the Vedas, or ancient texts, students developed a willpower and a requirement for a good characteristic, which subsequently allowed them to create a more favorable attitude and a positive outlook towards life. The third was an all rounded development, learning to withdraw their senses inwards and practice introversion, which was considered as the ideal method of a complete living human being. This allowed the students to become more aware of their inner workings of their mind and their responses and reactions while performing various duties in the Gurukul.
The fourth value was social virtues. By training body, mind, and heart, the student was inspired to only speak truth and refrain from deceit and falsehood. This was considered to be the highest human virtue. They were also encouraged to believe in giving to charities, which made them socially efficient. The fifth was spiritual development. The ancient texts suggest introversion as the best method for spiritual development, including yagyas or rituals. Therefore, the students spend time in reflection and isolation from the external world to look entirely within themselves to attain self knowledge and self realization. The sixth and final one was cultural education. One day a year, students offered food to a passerby or a guest. This act was considered a sacrifice, equivalent to one's social and religious duty to another. Up until July 2020, the schooling system in India was based on the 10 plus 2 system, which awarded the secondary school certificate once completing class 10th and a higher secondary certificate once completing class 12th.
So now we'll get into the new implementations. Currently, children in the age group of 3 to 6 are not covered in the 10 plus 3 structure, as class 1 begins around age 6 and 7. So in the new 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 structure, there's a strong base of early childhood care and education from ages 3, which is also included. And this is aimed at promoting better overall learning, development, and well being. As you can see on the left, there is the old education structure, and on the right, there's the new. In the 10 plus 2 structure, and now will now be replaced by the 5 plus 3 plus 3, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. And it will be implemented as follows. There will be a foundational stage, as you can see on the right side. This is further subdivided into into two parts. 3 years of preschool or Anganwadi, followed by classes 1 and 2 in primary school. This will cover children of ages 3 to 8, and the focus of studies will be in activity-based learning. Then you will have a preparatory stage. So that will be classes 3 to 5, which will cover ages of 8 to 11. And it will gradually introduce subjects like speaking, reading, writing, physical education, languages, art, sciences, and maths. Then you will have a middle stage from classes 6 to 8, which cover children between 11 and 14. This will introduce students to a more abstract concept in subjects in such as mathematics, sciences, social sciences, arts, and humanities.
This will be followed by the secondary stage, which is classes 9 to 12, covering the ages of 14 to 18 years. It is again subdivided into two parts, classes 9 and 10 covering the first phase, while classes 11 and 12 cover the second phase. These 4 years of study are intended to inculcate multidisciplinary study coupled with depth and critical thinking. Multiple options of student subjects will be provided. More changes that are being made is that instead of exams being held every single academic year, school students will only attend three exams in classes 12 and in classes 2, 5, and 8. The board exams will still be continued to be held for classes 10 and 12, but will be redesigned. Standards for this will be established by an assessment body. Performance assessment review and analysis of knowledge for holistic development. To make them easier, these exams will be conducted twice a year, where students are offered up to two attempts. The exam itself would have two parts, namely the objective and the descriptive part.
This policy aims at reducing curriculum load of students that they currently possess and allow them to be more interdisciplinary and multilingual. An example given by the Indian government for this would be that if a student wanted to pursue fashion studies with physics, for example, or if someone wanted to learn bakery with chemistry, they could be allowed to do so. Report cards will also be holistic and they will offer information about the students' skills rather than just their academics. Coding as a subject will also be introduced from classes 6 and experimental learnings will be adopted. Another thing that they're introducing is a midday meal scheme, which will include like breakfast, and it will focus on giving students health and particularly mental health improvement and aid through the deployment of counselors and social workers.
Now on to higher education in India. At the undergraduate stage, students can choose to study this level from age 18 onwards. The majority of students attend a free public college or university, while others choose a private institution for their education. Indian college and university degrees in the field of agriculture, engineering, pharmaceutics, and technology usually take 4 years to complete. Law, medicine, and architecture can take up to 5 years.
Postgraduate study in India, known as master courses or doctorate studies or degrees, they can take up to 2 to 3 years to complete, respectively. Postgraduate education in India is largely provided by universities, followed by colleges, and the majority of students are actually women. Postgraduate study allows students to specialize in chosen fields and conduct large amounts of research.
And for adult education in India, the purpose of adult education is to increase literacy and put people over the age of 21 who are illiterate further on the path of knowledge. In India, the National Literacy Mission Authority is responsible for funding and promoting adult education. But now we are going to be comparing our education system to the Indian education system, where Ratnali and I we follow the British education system, which is only compulsory from years 5 to 16. Across the UK, there are five stages of education: early years, primary, secondary, further education, and higher education. And as mentioned, this is only compulsory from years 5 to 16. So I'm currently 16 years old and I'm doing IGCSE right now, which is a 2 year course. And in this 2 year course, you have to do compulsory subjects, which are maths, biology, chemistry, physics, and English. And you get to choose four more subjects, where I chose geography, computer science, French, and art. And you have to study these subjects for 2 years. And at the end of the 2 years, you have board exams, and this helps you narrow down your options and figure out what you want to do further. And this will help you move on to the path, which is IB, which Ratnali is going to talk about now.
So, as Srnidhi mentioned, I do IB, which is what you do after IGCSE in our school. And IB stands for International Baccalaureate. And in this course, you have six groups of studies, which are Group 1 is studies in language and literature, 2 is language acquisition, 3 is individuals and societies, but this basically means humanities subjects, sciences, mathematics, and arts. Along with the 6 major groups, there are 3 core concepts which every student has to do, even if they might not want to. They're absolutely necessary to pass IB. They are theory of knowledge, in which students basically reflect on the nature of knowledge and how we know what we claim to know. The extended essay, which is an independent, self directed piece of essay, which is around 4,000 words. Creativity, activity, and service. This is CAS, in which students have to complete a project related to one of these 3 concepts over the course of IB. And so with these 6 groups, you have to choose one from each group except the arts. If you don't want to do an art, you can choose to take an extra subject from individuals and societies or the sciences. And so you have to study 3 subjects at higher level and 3 at standard level. Higher level basically means that you're going to learn this in much more depth and detail. And those are the subjects that you usually want to take if they're the ones that you want to do in university. So my 3 higher level subjects are biology, chemistry, and geography, and SL are math, German, and English. So from my 3 HLs, you can kind of make out that I'm interested in doing medicine in university. And so because of that, I researched into India's medicine history, and I will introduce you to Shushruta Samhita. Shushruta is an ancient Indian surgeon who was said to be born around 7th to 6th century BCE. And he's known for his pioneering operations and techniques and for his influential work in Shushruta Samhita. And it's the main source of knowledge about surgery in ancient India. Shushruta, for him, the concept of Shaila Tantra, which is known as surgical science, was all encompassing. And some of his groundbreaking operations include rhinoplasty, which is repairing or remaking of the nose, removal of dead fetus from inside a body, lithotomy, which is surgical incision into hollow organs such as your bladder to remove kidney stones and stuff like that. He also developed many unique and practical techniques to dissect the human body, which are still used many places around the world, and to study its structures. And the Shushruta Samhita also provides details on toxicology, pediatrics, pharmacology, and other branches of traditional system used in India, such as Ayurveda.
And as India is such a diverse country that we are very proud to be citizens of, it also has opportunities to study many other things, such as law. One can study law as an integrated course of 5 years after passing the senior secondary examination. And there are great law schools in India, such as the National Law School of India in Bangalore or the National Law University. India also has many up and coming career paths such as fashion design. It has a great institute of fashion design in Maharashtra, and there's also a fashion design college in Delhi. It also has great opportunities for things such as economics and architecture, so it isn't only focused on the sciences, so medicine or engineering. It has great opportunities for the humanities, for arts, and many other up and coming fields. So we're really proud to be citizens of India, as they have such a great education system and they have so many options, and they open up so many kind of career paths that you can follow. And it's very great, and it's very developed in its education.
Yeah, thank you for joining our presentation about Indian education system. We hope that you learned based on where you're watching about our education system, or if you are watching from here to learn about Indian education system.
Thank you. We definitely found this a great experience because since we don't follow the Indian education system, we were able to learn how it works, because since we follow the British education system and we live in Hungary, we didn't know about this prior to this. So it was really interesting to learn about how it works as well. And as Ratnali said, we hope that, like us, you also learned about it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining.